Oh, this weather. Oh, heavens. Oh, heavens. Oh, cling to my chest in happiness. No, you people that have the mild winters, you have no clue how good it feels. I'm in Portland, Oregon. It's 60 degrees outside. I don't think we've hit 60 since start of October, and it's now officially middle of March. And I got a particularly significant event, Portland history of the last 50 or so years. Really don't know why it took me so long to remember this, because my dad practically lived across the street from where this happened when it happened. So today I'm going to be doing something that I haven't really done a whole lot of since the introduction of this channel, which is I'm going to travel to far east Portland. I usually don't go any further east than this, and I'm about 102nd and 106th and Main Street is about where I'm at. But I'm going to be traveling in particular to near the intersection of 157th and East Burnside, because in 1978 there was a plane crash there. This was December 28th, 1978. There was a United passenger flight that ran out of fuel and literally crash landed in the middle of residential East Portland. So in essence, what happened was the pilot who was operating the aircraft started thinking that, or I guess he was misguided into thinking that there was a problem with their landing gear, so he was just circling around Portland International Airport. It was a flight coming in from Denver, I believe. And apparently there was nothing wrong with the landing gear. But the pilot was led to believe such was the case, and he was ignoring signs that the plane was running low on fuel. Apparently his co-pilots were telling him, like, we're running out of fuel, we have to land no matter how. And he was just like, no, it's gonna be okay, it's gonna be okay. And the plane essentially ran out of fuel and he had to crash land. Now, the fact that the pilot was able to land the plane without killing any of his passengers, only 10 people dead when you crash a major aircraft in the middle of a residential neighborhood, that's pretty impressive. And most people who were on the flight consider the pilot a hero, even though it was kind of his negligence at the same time that led to them going down the way they did in the first place. So, depending on who you are, people have different perspectives on the status of the pilot who was at the helm. Now, that accident actually led to major changes in general air flight rules, both in terms of upgrading planes, making sure problems like that don't happen again, but also altering how much power the lead pilot has, because someone should have been able to overtake his command, and him saying, oh no, the gas is fine, and them saying, no, like, we're out of gas, we're gonna crash. So it was a really significant event. And see, because Burnside here is kind of the dividing line for Portland, literally, people in these houses behind me live in southeast Portland. People who live in these houses live in northeast Portland. It's always interesting how that works out. But anyway, I'm just a couple blocks away from where the only known significant plane crash that I can think of that's ever happened in the Portland area. What's really surprising about this whole event is the fact that there were 10 deaths that occurred as a result of this plane crash. 2 were crew people on the plane. The main pilot, I know, suffered some pretty severe injuries but survived. But all of the passengers survived. And even though it crashed down into, a residential area like this, it just happened to crash land in not really an open field, but just a small open space where there just happened to not be any houses. One of the few spots along the stretch where that was even a thing. So it's really surprising, and I very highly doubt, because it was such a small area the plane landed, and it still, you know, hit some trees, got its wings torn off. I very highly doubt when the pilot realized, like, oh, we're going down, that he was aiming for that particular spot. And as I take these final steps up there, I do have to give a big shout out to Vintage Portland, which is a website. It's almost, oh, hello, Pooch. It's almost like a, I don't know if it's a WordPress or a Tumblr. I've always just been so enamored of the pictures that I don't even really know exactly what it is, but if you look it up, Vintage Portland, blue line going the other way, and I'm tripping and falling on my face. But yeah, Vintage Portland, which is a page that just, they just have all these great old pictures of Portland. And I was trying to figure out exactly where it happened, because all I could really find was it landed in kind of an open space near 157th and Burnside, which is where I'm at right now. But then I'm like, okay, so I have to just guesstimate? But just so happened that Vintage Portland, in their divine wit, posted an like aerial photograph down on the street where you can see Burnside, you can see 157th right there, and you can see right where the plane is. They even gave the approximate address of where the plane landed. And that address is right here where this apartment complex is now. And what's so great about the structure of this complex, because, I mean, as you can see, it's kind of split, you know, it's pretty much a jumbo-sized, you know, duplex almost. The place where the plane landed, fly on my, ooh, the flies are coming out now. Literally, the middle of this parking lot, right here, is where the plane landed. See those cracks right there? That's literally marking where it occurred. And what could have really confused me, because the accident happened there, they talk about how it was an open field. Well, there's officially an open field behind me. This is a little interesting. I'm literally filming this house, or the location, I don't know why I said house, the location where the plane crash happened, and there's a plane just kind of flying overhead. Ironic? I'd have to say so. And so I'm thinking the reason, I mean, again, this was a little open back then, but I'm thinking also these trees were very much in the foreground of the picture, which kind of, again, makes it look more foresty, and then you got open space here, and I think there were more trees here back then. They probably tore a lot out when they built this apartment, but anyway, it looked a lot more out in the middle of nowhere when the crash occurred, you know, almost 40 years ago. So I gave it one more time over, and it looks like the apartment complex standing there now is the Windsor Court Apartments. So if you ever want to find where plane crash of a lifetime in Portland occurred, just look that apartment complex up. Maybe you'll find a nice place to live. I'm sorry, I'm being such a friggin' suburban bitch right now. Anyway, it's kind of a cool little trek, but all that said, you know the shtick: like, comment, subscribe, share. But all that said, this has been Steve the Amateur Historian, and I'll see you next time.